Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be spending some time on the Amplifier Research 150W1000B. We'll start by going over a little bit about the amplifier, then we'll move to the connections in the front and the back. The AR150W1000B is a Class A amplifier that provides 100 watts P1dB from 80 MHz to 1000 MHz. These characteristics make it ideal for IEC 61000-4-3 radiated immunity testing as well as other applications. Depending on the efficiency of this antenna, this amplifier can be used to achieve 10 volts per meter. This amplifier assembly consists of a preamplifier, drive amplifier module, and 2 final amplifier modules. This amplifier can be ordered with the RF output on the front or the rear, as well as with or without the enclosure. The unit we're looking at for today's video in our rental inventory has our connections on the front and is in an enclosure. Let's go ahead now, let's take a little closer look at the capabilities of the amplifier. Here's the Ametek CTS AR website, and we're looking at the page for RF amplifiers. We're interested in the offering from 80 MHz to 1000 MHz, and as you can see, they provide products all the way from 50 watts to 10,000 watts. Today we're looking at the 150 watt model. We also carry the 250W1000C, which provides 250 watts from 80 MHz to 1000 MHz. Let's go ahead now. Let's take a look at the data sheet for the AR150W1000B. Here's page 2 of the data sheet for the 150W1000B. It provides the electrical specifications. We have some of the most important characteristics at the top. These include the rated output power, power output at both 1 dB compression and 3 dB compression, operating frequency, as well as the gain. Taking a look at our output power criteria, we have the saturated output power at a minimum of 130 watts, P1 dB compression at 100 watts, and P3 dB compression at 125 watts. As we work our way down to page 5, that's where we'll find the typical output power graph. This graph is an excellent visual representation of the wattage across the frequency. On the graph, we have the saturated, P1 dB, and P3 dB shown. Depending on the efficiency of the antenna being used, more power might be needed at certain frequencies. And as we can see looking at the graph, we have that general downward slope going towards 1000 MHz. Let's go ahead now, and let's take a look at the front of the unit. Here's the front of the AR150W1000B. As we mentioned previously, we have our unit configured with the output on the front of the unit. Let's go ahead now, let's start from the left, and let's work our way right. On the far left, we have the local and remote switch. This provides added protection from unintended remote control of the unit. When the unit is in local mode, the unit cannot be controlled remotely. Just to the right of that, we have the power button, and then below those, we have our RF input. As we work our way towards the center of the unit, we have the touch display, and then just next to that, we have our adjustment knob. Finally, in the lower right-hand corner, we have our RF output. Let's go ahead now, and let's take a look at the back of the unit. Alright, here's the back of the unit. There's not a ton to go through here, so let's go ahead and let's get started. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see a label for RF output, and you will see that connection is capped off. As we mentioned previously, we have our unit configured with the output connection on the front of the system. Just below that, on the left, we have a series of communication connections for Ethernet, RS-232, USB, and some others. All the way on the right now, we have our mains input and the switch, and then just above that, we have our RF input connection, which is again capped off. Alright, that should complete the video today on the AR150W1000B. We began the video by going over a little bit about the amplifier, and then we moved to the connections in the front and the back. We hope this video has been useful, and please keep us in mind if you ever need to rent the Amplifier Research 150W1000B.